kind of keep it, focused on. You got to do a good job to get the bonus points, okay? It's in like filming the caps. Okay, what kind of questions have y'all got from the core chapter? Anything at all?
What was the 10 to 6?
10 to 6, October to June term. Yeah, October to June term. What's that?
Okay. October to June.
October to June. What else have y'all got? When you look at it, the last part really of that chapter for both classes was basically just dealing with how the court works. So it was talking about term, it was talking about effectively how they vote and how they discuss. It was talking about things like the types of opinions that they write. So it was fairly straightforward kinds of things. I would venture to say that maybe there's 2 or 3 questions from that on the exam. 2 or 3 questions from that. Are y'all clear with the different kinds of opinions and things like this? Not everybody at once. Okay. All right. Anything at all from chapter 11? Anything at all from chapter 14, the court chapter? Wow, everybody's quiet today. Don't be shy. Ramon, anything at all? There's no chapter questions. Those were handled on the last exam for chapter 14. And the terms, and y'all saw the terms that I posted up there, right? The updated list of terms was Article 3, writ of certiorari, Rule of 4, order of vote.
What is that again?
What's what?
What's the writ of certiorari?
Anybody remember what writ of certiorari was?
The Supreme Court will ask this lower person to send it the information on the case.
Writ of certiorari is basically the way the Supreme Court chooses the cases that it hears.
Okay.
Yeah, basically that's what happens. And I mentioned in class, it doesn't matter if you've got a high team of attorneys, a small town lawyer, or a box of pencils and a legal pad if you're in jail. You can write, and ultimately the Supreme Court, if they decide that they want to hear your case, will grant a writ of certiorari to hear it. Other terms: majority, dissent, concur, and then Solicitor General. Everybody good?
Solicitor General.
What was the Solicitor General? Anybody?
Handle the Supreme Court appeals on behalf of the federal government.
Okay, the cases. Yeah, basically the Solicitor General, if the government is a party, if the government is a party in a case, just like you said, the Solicitor General is going to be the person that actually argues the case before the Supreme Court. Not the Attorney General, but it's going to be the Solicitor General. What else can you tell me about the Solicitor General that might be a little bit specific to that position?
He's considered the 10th justice, and he basically works for the president.
Okay, Solicitor, that's right. Solicitor General works for the president, so is a member of the executive branch, but is considered the 10th Supreme Court justice. Why is that?
Because his arguments give him a little more
Go ahead, Ron.
attention.
Did you say something like it's a hard job because he has to work for the president, but he has to something like that?
Yeah, I did say this. Basically, since the Solicitor General works for the United States government, there's a sense that this is like the 10th Supreme Court justice because they're all on the same team. They're all representing the government. And basically, as a Solicitor General, you have to push the president's agenda while maintaining the respect of the court. And if you push the agenda too hard, then you lose the respect of the court. If you maintain too much respect with the court, then indeed you might lose the president's agenda. And either way, you're probably going to end up getting fired. That's basically how it works. The Solicitor General, if the Solicitor General wants to argue a case, even if the government is not a party, what happens then?
He can take the government side on any case once he gets the 20 minutes, and then each side gets 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. Ordinarily, in oral argument, each side will get 30 minutes. Each side will get 30 minutes, the defendant and the plaintiff say. Well, if the Solicitor General wants a piece of the action, the Solicitor General is now going to have the 60 minutes of oral argument time before the court divided by 3. So it would be 20 minutes for the defendant, 20 minutes for the plaintiff, and then 20 minutes for the Solicitor General. And the sense is that the court is going to give the Solicitor General's argument a little bit more weight than they would regular attorneys because they're considered that quote-unquote 10th Supreme Court justice. So that's basically what that was. Rachel, what was the order of vote versus the order of discussion? What do you remember about that? Anything? Nothing at all. Neil, what do you remember about order of vote versus order of discussion?
Not much.
Because the Supreme Court justices, when they go, well, who should speak first?
Discussion.
Yeah, who should speak first?
Chief
The Chief Justice should speak first. Why would that be? Okay, the Chief Justice is the first among equals. The Chief Justice should always speak first. Then who speaks second? Whoever has the longest amount of seniority. So basically, when you're discussing, it starts with the Chief Justice, and then it goes from most experience to least amount of experience. What about when you're voting?
The least experience goes
The least goes first, and who votes last?
Has to be like the tiebreaker in case of.
The Chief Justice does. Yeah. The sense is, it's just like a basketball game when you think about it. I'd say a soccer match, but basically all the time in a soccer match is really not important. But the idea is that when you think back to it, then in a basketball game, or a hockey game for that matter, the first 5 minutes is probably the least important amount of time. And it's the same thing with the first vote with the Supreme Court. The first vote is really the least important. It's the last one that's the most important. So they always have the voting members that have been there the least, they're going to vote first. And then it goes from low to high up to the Chief Justice. And believe it or not, the Chief Justice now actually has one of the lowest tenures on the court because Bush appointed a new one towards the end of his second term. Yeah, I don't know if you heard about it, but I mentioned this in class 2, kind of going back to the Solicitor General. The Solicitor General, I believe, got nominated by Obama to replace Justice Stevens today. And it's the Solicitor General. She's 50 years old. There's also a lot of rumors swirling that she's gay. And that's something that will make for a very, very interesting confirmation battle this summer. So it's something to think about. But basically, order of discussion versus order of vote, that might get confused a little bit because you might think the chief should speak first and vote first. That's not the way that it goes. It's the exact inverted order on that. What else have y'all got, or anything from the court chapter? Okay, the big one is going to be the First Amendment chapter, the First Amendment chapter, chapter 4, civil liberties. What kinds of questions have y'all got from the terms in that one? Because there's a lot in here, and it's a really fine points. So what questions do y'all have?
What was the left out, states left out?
Anyone remember what the significance of was left out? The significance of left out from chapter 4. It was from the very, very beginning.
If the Bill of Rights was left out, some of the states wanted it left out.
That's right.
And others wouldn't ratify it if it was left out.
That's right. What was the problem?